Good evening. Welcome to the live Facebook. That's right, the live Facebook. This is the Wednesday night and we are almost coming to the year end. That's right, it's been great. I still remember the first talk that I done was the first week of January 2023, and here I came after almost 11 months or so. I'm back on the December month, and again we will be doing this also in the January 2024. I suppose it is just the interest that I always been like to share some of my knowledge about the stock market and how it has impacted us. And then of course, going back to 2022, the year that the stock market fell off the ground, and you all know, with the Russian-Ukraine war, the inflation, the whole world was turning down. But indeed, 2023 was a different year, and some of the talks that I did in January, if you have followed me in January and February in the YouTube channel, you will reckon some of the things I said will probably make a lot of sense now that we are in this December rally. That's right. So if you look at in the scheme of things, let's get started. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to another Wednesday night talk. All the prediction which I was talking in year 2023, going back to even in February and January, where every down year, which is referring to 2022, we would get a positive following year. So 2022 was a down year, and then we get 2023 was a good year. But you know what? Everybody want to know something more? Guess what? After one down year, which we see in 2022, we have 2 years at least. 2023, which is a good year, you can see this market in here, but again, in the context of the US market, and also 2024. Now, take note, I've also put a short video on YouTube and also on Facebook about the 2024 presidential election. So make sure you check out that video, why I talk about in 2024 presidential election will be good. But I'll probably be doing that in the coming months. And thank you for all your support. So let's get on to something which I talk very dearly, which is the market. And for tonight, the agenda, it's not much of a different from my usually Wednesday night, but we will be looking at some of the critical news that drives this market, the US market, and why is it still going higher, and understand why the US market is high, especially still many of our Malaysian friends as well as some of the members of Trade VSA has sort of migrated or already diversified, the word that we use here, to the US market. And no doubt many would already complain, hey, the currency, I'll talk a bit about the currency in here, but it does look like, we did strengthen for a while, but the market has changed its direction. And also the list of the US stocks, the AI stocks that is ready to move high. After all, tonight we are talking about the AI stock. And then where are the next opportunity in here, and followed by our usual summary. So that will be the talk of for tonight. So, and also our Christmas season, we are in the celebrating move. So we are having a market, SmartRoby Marketplace for our good bag here. Let me just show you what this bag look like. So I just had it in front of me, and this is how the bag look like. You can see here, right out in the back here. Yeah, it's the background. So it's I gotta put in front of me here, and this is a very huge bag. Okay, having said that, and you can use it for shopping. And of course, if you have shared your usage, and your friends, your colleague has used the referral code, and then you can get this free absolutely for a Christmas gift, right? Free, using your 1000 credit points. Okay, all you gotta do is just fill up the form, because I do know some of you may have shared the SmartRoby referral to other people and they get 100 or 200 credit point, I can't remember at this time, and if you share it to 10 people, you would have get this very nice shopping bag that you can go on. Yeah. Now let's go on to a little bit back to the past at the beginning of the year, which is the February month. We did start off with a nice recovery in January. Remember, I think some of you may know, in January 2023, after the market bottomed up in October 2022, and there was a lot of, very angry trader, very angry investor about the market and how much the inflation. So I have to come in and give you a different perspective. And on 22nd of February, on the top, again, the same kind of talk that I do every Wednesday night at 9:30, I talk about the rise of the AI in the stock market. Now, if we have a time machine like the one you've seen, Back to the Future, going back to February, this is where we are. And if it goes all the way, I mean, I'm assuming you are holding up in here, but anyway, there is a lot of opportunity to trade. You can buy here, sell here, buy here, right, sell here, right? So you still, but if you were to hold, that is equivalent to 134% gain. Okay, so that's being the AI stock it is. But you can also trade this based on the up signal, which is the green Pentagon, part and parcel driven by the Pentagon guider in here. Up signal and then down signal here, you would have done much better. But I do think that many of our members of our Trade VSA in here would have heard what I've said. If you think what I am sharing in here are beneficial and you have benefited from some of the ideas, give me a thumbs up in here, so we will continue to work hard. At least I do know some of you are paying attention in here. And say hi and do share and like this video in your timeline. Now, of course, one of the reasons why we are so bullish about this is partly of the research that we do from data analytics. Okay, the data analytics I've shared with you before in here. For every year when there is a negative return, referring to year 2022, right, subsequently Nasdaq will give you a 2-year positive return, which is what I started off with the opening speech of this morning, this evening, right? So if you have 2022, right, which is a down year, this was a negative year, I think it was negative 22%, and then 2023 is up almost 40+%, okay? And 2024, right, our research has shown that it is likely another positive year. How much? We don't know, but as I said before, check out the short video that I have on the shorts of YouTube and as well as Facebook on the 2024 president election. Now, how do we know that Nvidia will be good? You can see from here, last year was a big drop, minus 49% Nvidia, which is one of the big leader in terms of the generative AI stocks in here. But this year came back and did so much better, a total grand return going back to almost 8 years, 800% yearly average returns, about 300%. I do think that this is a bit overrun. You can see, right, one of the best return after 2026. 2026 was a good year because that was a year that we saw the release of the chatbot, right, all the AI chatbot, and again it did very well. Only 2023 it actually had some losses in here that was due to the US trade sanction war. Now, for those of our members who have bought, Apple would have gained too by 33% here. You can see 33%, and this has been one of my favorite, which I've talked very dearly, and I also have these stocks in here. I do think that 220 stock price is there because we still got a green Pentagon in here, and we are still in the midst of the Christmas rally. All right, midst of the Christmas 2023 rally, which on Monday and Tuesday I did have a very good session with my fellow members, the premium members of Trade BSA. Some of you may have even considering joining about in here. I do have some information on the VSA 360 demo room. Check it out in there. There's a link that you can find out more information about that. So now you get the point, right? If you have gone in somewhere in February here, and that market may have done so much better. Now, stock definitely got a Christmas boost, right? You can see here where everyone is cheering, the bull is raining, and this does look like the New York Stock Exchange bull that you see in here. So the question remains for tonight is, will we get a AI boosted for longer, right? Like turbocharged, the Fast and Furious version 11. We've seen the 10 one. So this is the question we are talking about. What do you think? For those of you who is listening in here, do you think that the AI stock will boost it a bit longer? Just let me know in there. But we always need to look into the background, which is what we normally do on Wednesday, the macroeconomics in here. So definitely the Middle East conflict, right, going back to the news, right, did not derail the Christmas rally. So far we also have seen the Christmas starting to move up in here. Like you can see, everyone is cheering for this Christmas in here. I even thought that with the Hamas and the Israel conflict, which started in October 7th, will continue for some time. We have seen even just yesterday, the Ukraine President Zelensky was in the White House really begging the Congress for some money because they wanted money to arm themselves for the winter war, which is coming, and also the Israeli wanted more ammunitions to flush out the Hamas, which will see the continuation war, which is very unfortunate, taking human life in here. But so far, the Middle East conflict did not derail the Christmas rally in here. And also on November 8th, the event remained relevant. That we saw the US whole interest rate at 5.2 for 5.5, and this is the real thing why interest rate is going down in here, because the Federal Reserve, I know a lot of people talk about the recession, but listen to this guy, okay? Listen to this guy. This guy is saying that the economy is in the strong third quarter, right? And with the target inflation of 2% in here, they are very keen to move inflation back lower in here. And so far what we have seen before, the key word here is strong economy going into 2024 presidential election next year, where we will see a rematch of Biden versus Trump. All right, a rematch of the Biden versus Trump. And the inflation for the month of November is already out, and you can see one of the key things you may have heard on the news just today or tomorrow is the inflation breakdown that we have in here. All things as we expected. One of the biggest changes was the falling of the consumer prices in here. Partly is due to the lower gasoline prices in here. So the lower gasoline prices is making this lower, and their target is 2%. If they're going to reach 2%, the target, they will cut interest rate. That's about it, okay? Unless they see the high inflation that we are seeing, which also shown in the US unemployment data. So that is possible only stigma to delaying the interest rate cut. So I will talk about interest rate cut on the next slide in here. So the news right now is the CME Fed Watch. This is a key thing. You can check it out on the CME Fed Watch, where the analysts or the so-called economic will predict likelihood of either an interest rate cut that is based on the Fed projection. So right now, Fed official will publish the 2024 rate hike projection after the policy in here, and they are talking won't come until June. So you can see right now why the market is bullish is, if you have seen back during the 2008, where interest rate was very high, right? And you know what they did? They cut interest rate. Was very high, they cut, and the market continue to go higher here. So you can see from here at the 5.5%, they can have a long way cut, and each time they cut minus 0.25, minus 0.25. You do your maths, okay? Every time when they do a minus 0.25, this is equivalent to 1% only. Okay, so they can have 4 rate cuts spread out over 3 weeks, depending how the economy is, to bring down more consumption, because right now we can see high interest rate is also eating onto the housing figures that is coming out in here to prevent any kind of recession. And of course, if next year 2024 they are talking about recession, which I do not think is possible in here, because again you have the 2024 president election where the incumbent president Biden will do whatever it can to have. And the latest thing I heard that that will pass on the Congress is the Housing Act, where they will build 500,000 housing in all over US. And how they're going to do that? They're going to confiscate unused land from private property. Unused land where they're supposed to do anything, they will confiscate it and probably compensate the owner for market rates or slightly below market rates. So that is where it will spur a lot of housing projects and also home building and construction project in here, because of the infrastructure. So that is really prompting the US. And also don't forget, in Malaysia context, right, the construction, the HRC, the ECRL, the HSR, and also now we have a new king coming in. So there's definitely going to be a lot of construction happening on the south, and that's why we are seeing a likelihood the construction sector in Malaysia will do too well too. So that is pushing a lot this market going higher. Now, of course, along the way, you also get a lot of bear. Now, all this is the very famous Jim Rogers that warned us, okay, that with the stocks, bond, property all set to pop, harsh recession is on the horizon. All right. So what do you all say? So, do we listen to legendary investor like even Jim Rogers here, or even like Robert Kiyosaki? What do they tell us? Okay, now I know you may not be able to read this, so I did do one of those fact check, and I can see that Jim Rogers was right many times too. He was right in 73, 80, 1990, 2000, 2002, 2008, 2010, and that is how they developed this reputation of being what we call the permanent bear. You know, they get it right. Brexit in here, the impact, and never materialized in here. Okay, which materialized, you can see, and also stock market, while not predicting January, was right about in here, was right. But at the same time, he was also wrong. Okay, 2011 he was wrong about 2008, and even 2023 he talked about global recession early on, but many economists did not say it happened. 2007, strong growth for China, which he wrote the book of China in here, but it's been very volatile. He said a lot about how China will be the next dragon and economy. I think you can still get that book, right? But so far he is missed totally on China in here. So you can see 6 short go bankrupt, suffer a lot of losses. Commodity outperformed stocks in 2007, another losses in here. So it has been a mixture. All right, so then let's look at another guy which I do follow, is Tom Lee from Fundstrat. Okay, now Tom Lee is one of the person who came out with that rule, right, that says that every year that is fall, he does do a lot of data crunching and data analysis like myself in here, and he said that no, he's a permanent bear. So he said that the stock is in the middle of liquidity rally, and it will rocket to new high in 2024. And in many ways, I do agree with him in here. But then let's take a look at the record, or we will fact check in here. All right. Definitely, if you look into here, a couple of prediction that he was wrong. He said that there was a correction in 2016. It did not happen. Inflation was transitory, meaning very mild. It did not happen. It went very high. All right. Then it says that Federal Reserve will not raise interest rate as aggressively in 2020. They did raise, and that's why we have the fall of the market sometime in I think in October, right? They raised the interest rate, and that's permanent in here. So at the same time, he was also right. He did say Bitcoin will reach 100,000 in 2021. It reached only 69,000 in here. 2022, he said that commodity will outperform. Significant price fueled by energy and food prices 2022. 2023 was resilient, and despite there were recession fear, but it didn't, and he was right here. So what's the point? Martin, you may say, right? Permanent bear is right half of the time. Permanent bear is wrong half the time. That's the example that we've seen in Jim Rogers. And for a permanent bull like Tom Lee, he also right 50%, and he is also wrong 50%. So what does this tell us? So this tells us, right, making prediction about stock market is very difficult for the experts. They cannot get it right. Now, why do I bring this up? Because constantly we are bombarded by news. I'm sure that if you have news, when you scroll your phone to the right, there's a reel that comes out which tells you on the area of interest that you want and the area of interest that you do. So many times I also get that, and as the market go higher, we get many of these boo. So a lot of time the fear will creep in, and that's why for an average Joe, I still consider myself as an average Joe like us, we will find it very difficult, like going into the so-called forest. There are so many indicators in here, which and where are we looking to, right? So definitely we have seen legendary investor like Jim Rogers, they don't get it right at any point of time. When you read one news, it's one of those predictions that he has done, and let me tell you, they are no better than 50-50. All right, they can never get it right. So I asked CHGBD for a solution. What's the solution in here? And he says that, what do you see in this picture up here? What do you see? I asked ChatGPT for a solution. How can we make prediction easier? And ChatGPT give me this picture in here, and he says that you need to do your own research. Okay, I think I skipped too fast. You need to do your own research, and you need to make your own decision. Yeah, let me just change this again. That's right. Do your own research and make a decision. And that's what we did. I always try to use volume spread analysis, which is driven by the Pentagon Guider, and many of our members, the holder of Pentagon Guider, would use this to your advantages. So use this to make the decision in here, and if it's not, just cut loss. All right, and the whole point is make sure your losses are big, make sure your losses are small and your winners are big, or you can do more frequent winning and your losses are small. So just that correction that I want to talk about here. And we do this in our Trade VSA coaching and mentorship. Many of you will have been to our Tuesday, which we did our monthly December orientation, as well as our Monday weekly training, where we get all our members, just like predicting the stock market. We want to teach you how to do your own research using Pentagon Guider, using SmartRoby in here, and make the wise decision like we've seen in here. Now, let's look at the US and Malaysia currency in here, where we have seen the ringgit strengthen, right? We've seen the ringgit strengthen in here. That was on 2nd of November when they say US dollar no more rate hikes. Okay, rate hikes. So we saw that market dropping down in here and then form a base at 4.64. But then today we saw a line change, isn't it? A line change, which means the ringgit right now is starting, okay, to weaken. Now it started to weaken because it is correlated to the China data. What we have seen so far is the Chinese deflation accelerated to 3-year high, hitting the stocks. So that means worst thing can ever happen to the stock market is deflation, right? Which means prices are not rising, so they can't raise the cost, and people delay their purchase. When people delay their purchase because of prices are dropping, for example, they may not be buying the TV that they want to buy, so delay in here. So that has an impact. So you can see the market, the Hang Seng market, which actually tied to the Chinese data in here, begin to fall even lower, and as such the Hang Seng is testing lower in here, and ringgit is weakening. So you can see the US dollar going up. So that's the explanation of why ringgit will start to weaken right now. Now, if you look from the tone of Malaysia, which is we are part of the emerging market, right? Emerging markets, it's very important in here. Again, this falls into foreign funds. Okay, so foreign funds has been so-called leaving the last 2 weeks, and that's why we could not get that market higher. So check out the VSA 360, which you can definitely see foreign funds are not leaving and the stocks are actually moving sideways for that one here. So we need a huge amount of foreign funds coming to the emerging country, and Malaysia being part of it is starting to get it, but we yet to see 2024 where we see more in here. But at the same time, we have to be careful of the smart money. The picture that you see in here is a picture of a smart money. Now, why is it? I just want to draw your attention, which I just shared over the on the live trading on Monday, is many times the stock may try to go higher. And the same thing too. Right now, what we are seeing, the AI stock may be smart money operating. So we always have to be careful as we go higher. This is a very good example. Just a week ago, Gamuda win 1.77 billion contract. And also I talk about the HSR, the ECRL projects in here. A lot of construction projects, same thing in US. So typically that will means more money flowing to the economy. They clinch the Singapore jobs in here. But you take note, 6 days ago the market hit high. To distribute, now the market is a bit lower. So a lot of the time smart money operators use the premise of good news. So be careful of the good news, right? We can see smart money manipulating the stocks. So you can see here, turn green Pentagon, but immediately when you turn red Pentagon, you need to exit. All right. So same thing goes for the US AI stocks. So ensure you have the SmartRoby, at least having the Pentagon guider in here to drive you up, as well to have the stocks going up. Now let's talk a bit about the AI in here. All right. So the first computer was a room size, very slow. This is how we been using the computer. I was a computer science student in here, and we use some of this machine, the printer. So this was in the 1980s and 1990, but it got smaller and smaller until today. We have the handphone, which is actually another computer too. Then machine learning came in the year, I believe year 2000, and one of the breakthrough in AI is the development of the machine learning. A lot of data crunching, a lot of machine and neural network. So machine learning allow deep learning, a machine to learn from the data to improve the performance in here. As such, we also first seen this, the Google speaker, okay, where we talk about, hello, hi Google, and since then there are voice assisted and image recognition. But today, right, we have the deep learning robotics, where CHGBD, or we call it the generative AI, they can generate a lot of things, from codes. So we were talking about the doctors the other day, that even future doctor, right, may be replaced by robots. And to me, this is one of the biggest danger we see, why there are going to be less and less people being employed, because we will be replaced by robot, like it or not. So if you're not in this field, right, we need to find an alternative. And of course, those of you who know and learn how to trade already, you are in good hands, right? So you can also use the robot, like what we do on our AI SmartRoby in here, to trade, right, and to invest in the longer term, which we also talk about it, the double barbell strategies, all right, in here. And this is riding on a sector that is booming in here. But of course, we just don't simply buy lah. We still look at the chart, which, like I just shared with you, the smart money operator that happens on Gambunda. All right. So the US landscape, as I said before, this is from in here. Many of these people will be replaced. Okay, software developers, accountants, bookkeeper, lawyers, office admin, and also legal people in here, right? And now ChatGPT has been one of the front driver. Now remember, when did ChatGPT came out? You all remember or not? Right? If you all remember, type it up there. Okay, ChatGPT came out in November. Okay, it came out in November 2022. That's right, November 2022 only ChatGPT first came out, November 22. But since then, right, the publicly available, a fact check have seen, Bart came out, Megatron, Jurassic from the A21, Microsoft, Google AI, BAI, Baidu, right, this has changed to, I think, is Ernie. Then you got Bloom, Utera AI, I've used this before, Google AI, and Palm. So you can see, and also ChatGPT. All right, ChatGPT is also in there. So you can see many of these big language models I showed you here. This is another version of them, the updated one. Meta AI or the Open AI competitors has also come up with a lot of what. So big area are moving into, just like electric car. Okay, when we first saw electric car, Tesla came out, BYD come in and take market share. So we will be seeing a lot of this happening here. So what does this mean? This means with the competitive background that we are getting, right, we will see more and more usage and more acceptance of generative AI, which means this can only means people are becoming more productive. They don't need to hire that many people. Will also mean the cost of goods will come down, profit margin go up. That in turn will drive the stock market higher, and that's simply what is happening to the stock market. Market's going higher because of many of these strong productive growth that we've seen in the market. Now, of course, on February at that time, some of the stocks that I talk about, AMD, Intel, ASML, and Nvidia, was the idea that I shared with you early on the beginning of the opening of the market here. These are the top 4 stocks at that time in here, and how well they have fared, you probably know as well as I do. They have done so much better in here. So let's go into the large cap stock. Okay, the large cap stocks which are AI related in here, being the closest. Microsoft is almost 2.7 trillion here. Apple, this is an old figure. Apple is actually more than that. Apple is more than 3 trillion already. All right, so this is not correct. And you can see Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Apple. These are big household names. And if you have got them since the February, we've done very well. So the question remains to me tonight. Some of you will be asking. Now, if you like what I've shared with you so far, give me a thumbs up so I make sure that you are both listening into and actually, still awake, despite for Wednesday night, close to festive season next week already. So if you look at Microsoft, where we are using the, thank you for your, so you can see from here onwards, we always need to frame our chart, which I'll talk about. So you can see from here, okay, this is what we call market stages, okay? So we have a stage 1 here, stage 2, then we have another stage 2 here, we have a stage, here we have a short stage 3, now we are having a stage 1. That's right. We're having a stage 1 in here. This is for Microsoft. So what's going to happen? We got a spring here. So a good point is to put your stop loss. And as soon as you get a green pentagon, that's where you want to go in on Microsoft. If it's not, then don't trade this stock, because the stock has been up almost 50%. So usually you got any, how much of a more? Probably you need the January month of 2024, okay? Because December, I think the most, if you do get, is only about 3% only left. So if you intend to do a trading for the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3%, this is a good one. But if you take into January and February, March 2024, then there is a likelihood the market to going high. Now the same story go for Amazon too. If you look at Amazon in here, the market has also framed the chart again like what I did. So we frame it here. So right now this is a stage 2. Right now here could be a stage 3, could be a distribution. We still need to wait for the market to break higher. But when it break higher, it may form a double top. Alright, so if you are a member, what we have shared with you, use some of the case study that we did on Monday, as well as the current 12 case study that I sent out to our members through the WhatsApp. Check out how we frame those charts, how we calculate the target profit as well as the cut loss point. That will give you an edge. So members, check out the video that we sent out through our WhatsApp. So it's a privilege being a member of the Trade VSA, where we do a lot of sharing and looking for best possible. If not, you can just still use, those of you who are members of the public, you can still use the Trade VSA SmartRoby to time it. So just need to know this right in here. This was the point in early October. We form a double bottom, the market goes up. So these are the two large cap stock which I talk about may rally, but we still need to wait for the VSA setup. Is this okay so far? If it's okay so far in here, just type one or two, so I'll understand that, especially our members understand what we're going through. Now, if you turn our attention right now to the mid-cap stocks, all right, if you look at mid-cap stock, we have NVIDIA, then we have TSMC, AMD, Qualcomm, and C3. So you can see from here, very similar result in here. Market has been range bound, right? The big gains has been taken up already. So you can see from here, okay. So you got this nice here. So this was a stage 3 distribution. We are still in a stage 4. Okay, stage 4. This may be a stage 1 accumulation. All right, thank you, Joseph. Thank you for understanding it. So stage 1 we still need for the market, because right now, what we have seen, the technology and the AI stock is in red pentagon. And remember, I've talked about this on the SmartRoby show last Friday. Remember the SmartRoby for the US market, I talk about it in here. So check out the video if I talk about. So we still need to wait for that reaccumulation before the market goes. And from here onwards, we got an all high. This will be your TP, a target profit around here. We just need for wait for that. If you were to go in before the green pentagon, nothing wrong with it. Make sure you have a tight loss, because what we are saying, right? The scenario is, if there's a rally, the market need to go higher. If it doesn't go higher, then this is a distribution point, which we talk about it just like Gamuda. Remember, be careful of the smart money. Good news, they will sell. So this is quite important. AMD started to break up. As you can see before, this is in the mid stage 2. So this may be a better trade. Again, look into this. This is stage 1 accumulation. Stage 2. Reaccumulation breakout in here. Actually, AMD is a better chart here. Now it's almost 137. The bottom was around in here. This big move that you have certainly pay dividend. Now you also will notice in US, if you want to make the big gains, you need to allow for 1, 2 or 3 months for this kind of big cap stock or mid cap stock, which is around $490 and $137 in here. Now for the small cap stocks, take a look at this list. Go to the trading view chart, put it in here, and some of these may be even smaller amount. You can really buy them, like a Data Robot, Appian, UiPath, Big Bear. You can do the Trade VSA stock analysis that will help you. Now, sharing some stock trade idea that we have. Exxon, V and Microsoft, going back into when we said about the green pentagon in here. Let's take a look at them. I think I've reviewed in here. Let's review V, okay, which is one of the stocks I like. This is a slow moving stock. It's not really technology, but it's fintech. Okay, so we've done Microsoft in here, and you can see from here to here, it's a 6% move from November, right? From November, they had 6% move. It's not a lot, actually, you think of it, right? Because it is a big cap stock. But again, this, I do believe, this is one of the big stocks that will do well regardless whether the market, as long as the consumption is there, because of when the interest rate drop, people are likely to consume more. The consumer sentiment will do much better too. And also one of the things that this is a stock that will do well during the Christmas rally in here, and that's also one of the reason why, if you can get into it, a nice line change in right here, this is a good stock to be looking at, which is Visa. I think we all have Visa card. I have a couple of Visa card too. All right. Exxon Mobil, this stock has come down, have to cut loss already. As you can see, this is also because the ending of the war, where the Hamas and the Israel has already been priced in, despite the OPEC cut, right? Crude oil prices drop lower in here, and there's a concerted effort. The slowdown in China may bring the gas prices down some more in here. All right. So the update for the US market, which I normally do towards the tail end of it in here, is that pretty much of the market has priced in the conflict of the Middle East. Oil and gas and gold has retreated. You've seen the gold hit, distribute, now gone back to 1980. So watch out for the US unemployment report. I think there's only going to be a few more. So far, many of them beat expectation, and that's why we saw the rally, which I've talked about it in the previous video in here. Right, the revival of technology sectors, there are cheap demand coming in with the China slowdown, and eventually I think the President Xi and Biden meeting that they had in November 2023 may resolve some of the chip issues that we've seen so far. And of course, the big driver is Fed cut rates in April, May 2024. All right, this is the prediction we are going for, and that's what this will fuel the market going into the January, February, and March 2024 rally in here. So the expectation is already there. So one of the things that we always publish is the CPI figures that's coming out. So make sure you join me in here. Now, of course, our VSA 360 have the US stock sector. We can also check the bulls and the bears inside here, and our US Pentagon guided stocks, where you can trade the VSA Turbo. Certainly a very good tools for our members, and for those of you who is interested, that we have our members competition, which is our Serial 2, which is still ongoing, and we have seen many of them has done very, very well with the stocks. These are for the local stocks they have done, buying into the Malaysian stocks, trading them like using the VSA Turbo method, which is a Pony Express, something that I think will fits in here. And don't forget to join me on our breakfast show. Now do take note, this coming Friday there won't be any breakfast show. I'll be away for some event in here. I'll be back on Monday for breakfast show, and this time will be for the US Bursa KLSE. Just take note of being here. And for those of you who are new in the US market, we certainly recommend you to join the opening account through our partnership with USmart. And don't forget to use the invitation code NYVJPA, and you will get a 400 credit for the SmartRoby here. I'm using the USmart account in here, giving me good quality service and cheap broker too, and regulated and approved by the MAS in here. And don't forget our Christmas bag. You can redeem it worth about 16 ringgit with 1,000 back. Now, of course, for our members, okay, for our members, our premium members in here, many of you may have supported us in the November's sales. I thank you for your support in here. As a token of appreciation, the Christmas is here, and the season we like to give you a bag worth 16 ringgit, and make sure you fill up the Google form that we sent to you. So with that, we end our session for tonight. Thank you for coming, and don't forget to join our Telegram chat room for all our information education in here. And I do hope tonight you have a list of the AI stocks and at least a reason to believe this stock market going into January, February, March may continue to rally, or we probably have a little bit pause, but I will definitely update you in the coming week, as many of you have followed me for many years, as what I did warn and also predicted the market will rally in the January and February 2023, and it did well. And I hope that some of you who have listened to some of the share trade idea have done well in here. I wish you all the best, and we'll probably take a short break on the Christmas. After the Christmas that week, probably we'll just have one absence of a live Wednesday in here. If not, I'll see you and have later, and have a good holiday in the coming weeks. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your support. We appreciate your time with us. Bye bye.